guess Bret Hart drew a picture of the Brooklyn Brawler getting nailed by Pat Patterson. I guess Brawler was really offended by her.
Yeah, what it was, I don't know. It was. I know it was. I didn't see the picture, but it was a picture of supposedly, what they call the career carpet. I think it was a bear rug. It had Pat, Vince, Ultimate Warrior, and Steve Lombardi, and maybe someone else. I can't remember, but Hercules was me, him, and me, Hercules, and
Paul Roma,
maybe, and then not probably it was Bruno Harvey Whippleman, and then but I remember Steve was like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of Bret Hart and this and that, and Hercules, from my understanding, him and Lombardi was somewhat like first or second cousins or something. They were calling each other cousins, and finally Hercules just said, hey man, shut up, you ain't gonna do shit, there ain't no reason to do shit unless there's a reason, But yeah, he got really mad about that photo.
And it is quite a coincidence that Lombardi, I think, he was only just released a couple of years ago. He had a job for that.
Well, you know why he got released too?
No.
Well, he was, and I don't know how, because I don't know anything about the internet, but Steve was actually leaking, from my understanding, information during shows.
Oh, okay.
So, that was had to be pretty serious to let him go.
What do you think about that rumor? Because Carl has given me his opinion on that.
On that old Steve?
Oh yeah, on the old Patterson, and we've heard it about Paul Roma and Steve Lombardi.
Well, it's
not Paul Roma, sorry, Jim Powers, not Paul Roma.
Well, what's funny, when you bring those names up, they all have a sort of a tie-in to that weird story you're talking about. I remember when I first went to WWF, I swear, man, I was like, something shocked me every day. I remember Ultimate Warrior and Kerry Von Erich, and I'm pretty sure Kerry wasn't involved in any of that, but Paul Roma was screaming, really loud at the Ultimate Warrior, going, hey, whatever he was saying, on that carpet with Vince and them, that's the only way. He was screaming stuff like that where everybody in the building could hear that. And so, I don't know. You like to think that that's not true, but I'm not trying to look for excuses, me a dumb old boy from Arkansas, but I don't know. Just so many things that it was strange about the whole thing.
I heard you say, and of course you never, had to be worried because you're huge and you had many options of places to work, but you said in another interview you felt uncomfortable around Pat Patterson a couple of times.
Well, one was this, and it was just, again, you don't, and the boys rib a lot, and you don't know who's joking or not joking. And then you heard these stories. I had heard the stories where, supposedly Pat would call Sean's room all night long or knock on his door trying to get him to concede or whatever. So my very first trip in the WWF was I was brought to the building by myself. I was dropped off there, and all I was there was just to understand, to see how they did TVs and how the WWF did their operation. Well, I ended up riding with back to the room that night with Pat, Vince, JJ, and Howard Finkel, and worked out with Vince that day. He had me picked up in a limo with him, and we went to the gym, worked out, went back to his room, took a shower, and went to the building. Well, we're all now having dinner, and Vince goes to the bathroom, and I think Vince is sitting across from me, and Pat's sitting over, and Pat leans over me and says, "What an asshole that guy." I was thinking, oh God, and then he goes, heard y'all had a really good workout today. I said, yeah, Pat, it was just a workout, So that was a little awkward there. So we get to the hotel. This is Canada when the lightning is going on. He says, hey, you want to come to our balcony and watch lightning tonight? I went, no, I don't want to watch lightning tonight. So he grabs me at the counter and says, I got the big son of a bitch in the waist sock. So I really went around. I was like a real shoot, and I don't know chain wrestling. I really don't. But I learned it real quick. So I put my arm in and got around him and said, no, you don't have me either. I said, I'm going to my room. And I really was scared that night. And I don't think they were walking by my room, but I had convinced myself of that.
Yeah.
And again,
it could have been written.
It could just been real. It probably was. But again, it was like, no, I don't want to watch lightning with you tonight,
and how things have changed now. First of all, Bret would have been fired for those blackboard drawings, and
yes,
nothing like that. I guess, was that before all the molestation allegations came out?
That was all same time. Okay. You know, the drawings all related. But you're right about that, man. Any of that crap. Or that's one thing, and that's probably, it was just a rib. You know, they know I'm married, and that wasn't going on. But now the other things that were prevalent, were like the things that I witnessed. We were overseas one time, and there were a group of young little boys sitting out from the hotel, and I asked somebody, asked the warlord, what are these kids doing out here? He goes, the black ring announcer. What was his name?
Mel Phillips.
Mel Phillips
was fired.
Says Mel's getting these kids tickets tonight, and for return he takes them to the room and plays with their feet. And I go, what? So it's like, and I can tell you a million stories like that.
And that lawsuit, they ended up getting settlements. Like, it never went to court. It was settled, but they were undisclosed settlements. But I believe that was in relation to Mel Phillips and Terry Garvin.
You're saying this, but I'm going to have to say this, because I'm going to say this in my book. This was a weird deal with Terry Garvin one time. I'd heard all these stories, and and after seeing Paul Roma act out like he did, I started feeling like maybe some of this was true. Well, Lowell, Mass was a town, coming from Boston. If you didn't leave early, you'd probably be late because of the traffic. So me and Kerry Von Erich, who I was riding with at the time, and Paul Diamond, we got there early. I'd say about maybe an hour early. And I went into a little small locker room they have there at Lowell. And as I was coming in there, Terry Garvin and this little chubby guy, that enhancement guy we call job guys, black hair, I can't remember his name, but their clothes were all ruffled up, and of course I'm thinking the worst, but I'm not saying anything, so I put my stuff down and I sit there and I don't even look at the kid, and so then the kid just starts spilling his guts to me. He goes, hey man, I don't want to do this. I just want to be a wrestler. I just want to go home to my girlfriend. I don't have nothing to do with this, and so I said, dude, I'm not trying to be a jerk to you. I said, but you're never going to be successful in this business. You're not going to be me. You're not going to be Kerry Von Erich. You're not going to be a big star. So I said, go home and don't fucking ever come back. And he did.
And Pat Patterson had resigned through all of that. And now Patterson wasn't connected to the boys. There was an announcer that had made some allegations. It was Garvin and Phillips that had to do with the boys, and they were never brought back.
Right.